everyone, Flo from Off to Lens here, and today we're going to talk about the new SIRUI lenses. Now the Vision Prime series isn't new, and I've been filming with them for more than a year, but now we get additional focal length. I've been using these new lenses for the past few weeks, and in this video I will talk about my experience with them, what I like and don't like about these lenses, and finally whether or not I would recommend them. This video is also about the importance of brands to follow through when releasing new affordable lenses. And as always, before I start, be sure to subscribe to see more videos like this one, and let's jump into it. I also want to apologize for my voice. It's been like this for a little while now, and I can't seem to get rid of it just yet. If you've been following me for a little while now, you know that I've been using SIRUI products for many years. I've started with the Jupiter Macro Cine Primes, then the first Vision series, then also the Iron Star Anamorphics, and finally the compact Astra lineup. And I've also been using the video tripod and head for a few years on pretty much all of my shoots. Recently, they asked me if I was interested in testing and using the new focal length for the new Vision series, and I said yes. There are a few reasons that made me want to get these lenses. The first and most important one for me was the fact that these lenses will be completing the set of 3 that I already have. These days we get a lot of manufacturers coming up with affordable lenses, but sometimes the problem is that we only get 2 or 3 lenses, which can make it hard to cover all situations or make it a proper usable set. I love the Vision Prime series, but one of my first complaints was the lack of a wider and especially longer focal length. Being able to get affordable lenses is great, but being able to get an affordable and useful and complete set is of course much better. Whether or not you're getting your first set of Cine lenses, you always want a set that can cover a wide range of scenarios to avoid having to buy or rent extra focal length to complete your kit. The other reason is that I already know these lenses and I really enjoy their look, shooting experience, as well as their size and weight. These are L-mount lenses, so they also work perfectly with my Cinema Camera 6K, my PYXIS 6K and the PYXIS 12K. Now full disclaimer, SIRUI did send me these lenses for me to keep, but I don't get to modify the content of this video, and these are my own opinions. Since I often receive a few comments with people complaining that I get to keep lenses against reviews, I just want to address this. I completely understand if you choose not to watch, but I want to be honest from the get-go. I get to keep lenses because I need to be compensated for my time spent making these videos. Very simple. I don't get lenses or get paid on YouTube to say certain things. It is simply because it is my job and I can't work for free. As with all my reviews, I want to give you as much information while still being genuine and show you what I like, but also what I don't like after using these in an organic way. The rest is entirely up to you. Now back to the video. Over the past few weeks, I've been using these lenses to shoot anything from documentary style content to outdoors, and I film in full bright daylight, but also at both golden and blue hour. As always, when I do reviews, I prefer to use lenses to film actual projects and not just test footage. When I don't have a specific project to align with, I try my best to replicate scenes and scenarios that mimic the type of content that I shoot. The interesting thing with this one is that since I had already shot with the original set last year in winter, I wanted to recreate similar scenes in the same locations, but this time in summer. Across these few weeks, I mainly concentrated on the wider and tighter lenses out of the 3, as it was the 2 extreme missing from the original set. In terms of gear, I filmed everything on a Blackmagic PYXIS 12K, and I used these lenses both on sticks and handheld. As always, you can find all the gear in the description below. Now let's get into the lenses. The new Vision lineup is made of 3 lenses, the 15, 75 and a 150mm. The original set had a 24, 35 and 50. The new 15 is T1.6, the 75 is T1.4 and the 150mm is T4. These lenses are all manual and are made for full-frame cameras. They also come in E, RF, Z and L mounts, and the mounts are actually all included in the case. In terms of weight, they are roughly around 600 to 700 grams, which makes them quite light. And for size, here them compared to the Iron Star 1.5 times and the Astra. Both the 75 and 150 have a 67mm filter thread, whilst the 15 has a 77mm one. And finally, when it comes to price, at the moment of recording this video, the intended price is around $649 USD for a single lens and approximately $1,900 for the 3-lens kit. Make sure to check out more info on these lenses with a link in the description. There's also a code below to save a bit if you're interested in getting them. First of all is that these complete an existing series. I think this is a necessary step for any company releasing affordable lenses. It is amazing that we get so many options at such low prices these days, but if we only get 1, 2 or 3 lenses, it makes it hard to actually use them on projects and genuine scenarios. I love the first Vision Primes, but being limited to only shoot between 24 and 50mm can be frustrating depending on the topic of the project. I feel like now having 6 lenses in the same kit makes it very versatile and properly usable. Being able to shoot super wide at 15 all the way to 150 is very useful. For example, the 15mm is great to capture those wide vistas, and it allows you to get creative shots as well. This is also wide enough to use for tight interiors, like we did in a car. And for being such a wide and fast lens, it is surprisingly small and light. Here it is compared to the Rs 18 for example. Obviously, this is not the same quality, but still. I was also impressed that it did not vignette on a PYXIS 12K without an ND. You do get a bit when using a VND in some cases, but it is not distracting or an issue at all. On the other end of the set, the 150 gives you that reach and compression, which I love. Next is that they are light and compact. This is something that is always important for me as I shoot a lot handheld and outdoors. Being able to just use this with a VND without a matte box or lens support is great. I actually didn't end up using the case much, and instead I used my small 10-bar insert. Then we have of course the image. I really like the image from these Vision Primes. I already like the look of the first 3, and these are no different. I think they have enough of a look to tell that you are using Cine lenses, but they are also neutral enough to use on different projects. And I found the bokeh and overall texture quite pleasing as well. I think they render grains and foliage particularly nicely. For example, I really like these frames that I took of my wife holding flowers. There is definitely something special about the look of that 150mm. Next we have the aperture. These are fast, especially at t1.4 and 1.6 for the first 2. This is great when you want a shallow depth of field, but it is also very useful when shooting in dark environments or when you want to focus the viewer's eyes on something specific. The 150 is only t4, but depending on a sensor and a camera, it is more than enough. Then we have close focus distance and macro capabilities. These lenses have really great close focus distance for their respective focal lengths. The 15mm is surprisingly impressive, and it can make for very interesting shots. And a 150mm, aside from being a very useful telephoto length, also offers macro capabilities, which is both fun and can also be very useful. I was actually quite shocked how well it worked. I've often said that having lenses as part of a kit that have macro capabilities definitely open up new possibilities. Next is the shooting experience. Due to their size and weight, I find these lenses to be quite easy to use and versatile. They are light enough to use handheld or with small setups or on gimbals, but you can also rig them up if you wanted to, since they are big enough and long enough to put focus motors on or a matte box for example. On a PYXIS 12K, they make for a very nicely balanced setup. I always love lenses that allow me to use them for personal content as well as proper projects. Flexibility is very important for me, and these lenses can do that easily. Then we have the mounts. The Vision Primes come with all the mounts included in a case, which is very handy. They also include the tools to swap them, and it takes only a couple of minutes. Mine arrived in E for example, and I changed them easily to L. And finally, I do like the case it came in. The fact that it includes all the mounts, the tools, and even a cloth in addition to just transport and protect the lenses is great. For me, the first thing that I'm not a big fan of is the difference in front thread sizes. The 75 and 150 are 67mm, whilst the 15mm is 77. This can be a little frustrating as you need a slightly different setup when using a VND. In my case, I use a 77 VND, so I had to use a step-up ring for 2 of the lenses. This isn't a major issue of course, but I wanted to mention it. Next is the overall build quality. As with the previous Vision Primes, these lenses feel good in hand and to use, but they are not amazing. The caps for example feel very cheap, but they do work. And again, these lenses are quite affordable anyway, so it does make sense and they still feel solid and are primarily made of metal. Then we have the lack of flares and washed out corners. Of course, you don't get lenses like this for their flares, but I would have liked a little more character when facing direct sunlight. The corners can also look a little washed out in some situations, but I can't tell if the VND or certain angles had an impact on that as well. Then I want to mention the colors. Like I said, I really love the colors of these lenses, but I could notice a slight magenta tint on some clips. Now I'm not sure 100% again if it's the VND or the Blackmagic cameras, but since I always use the same camera and VNDs, I suspect the lenses to have a very slight shift in some situations. It happened a few times in super bright daylight on brown rocks and gravel textures. Not a deal breaker of course, but again, I thought I'd mention it. Next I want to mention the difference in apertures. With this new set we go from T1.4 to T4, which is a pretty big difference. Now to be fair, shooting less than T4 on the 150mm would be extremely shallow, and I actually found myself to be at T5.6 more often than not. And finally, I think it would be nice to have the focal length written on both sides of the lens. On a side note, I also want to mention that whilst I love the 15mm, and I think it is amazing that we get a lens that is that wide for that size, but personally if I was buying my first set, I would have preferred an 18mm rather than 15, as 15 can sometimes be a little too wide and slightly distorted depending on the shots. That being said, there is also a 24mm, so it's great that we get that range as part of the same set. It is also of course much easier to crop in on a shot if needed than to have to go wider. But as always, it depends on what you shoot and the look you're after. Yes, I would definitely recommend the new Vision Primes. I think if you already own the first 3 lenses, then it makes a lot of sense to get the new ones. And if not, you now get to choose from a pretty solid selection. Having 6 lenses that cover a range from 15 all the way to 150 makes for a proper usable set. The image is lovely and they're also very easy to use. And whilst they don't feel expensive in the hand, they do offer amazing value, especially considering they cover full-frame sensors and are quite fast. And on top of that, the small form factor combined with the fact that the 150 can also do macro as well, and having all the included mounts make them super useful and versatile for a wide variety of projects, users and cameras. These are lenses that can be used to shoot landscape and documentary style content like I did, but also anything from corporate to short narrative if needed. I would definitely suggest you look into them if you are looking at getting a set of affordable Cine lenses, especially if you shoot with mirrorless mounts. For the price, it would be very hard to find lenses as complete as the Vision Primes. That's it for me for today guys, hope you've enjoyed this video and it was helpful to you, and if you did, feel free to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Also feel free to check out my 2 ebooks, Freelance Documentary Filmmaking and Travel Cinematography, where you can find a streamlined but comprehensive overview from pre-production all the way to marketing, built on years of my own experience shooting short documentaries and travel videos around the world. And if you are interested, I'm also doing filmmaking mentoring sessions when you can ask me anything about a wide variety of topics.